So probably one of, maybe the biggest announcement for many people at the Game Awards is that we are getting a new, seemingly big budget Blade game. And that's exciting stuff. The last Blade game we had was, back on the PlayStation 2 with Blade 2. And that wasn't exactly a high-quality release. It was kind of in that time where licenses were just given out for different games to go alongside of movies, and not a lot of effort put into them necessarily, right? Not like now where we see Insomniac putting out things like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 and seemingly Arcane's top branch making Blade. So this is exciting stuff, but there was an interesting conversation coming out of the Game Awards as the trailer left a bit to be desired for a certain part of the gaming community, and we're going to go over that here today. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here to the Spawn Wave Plus channel. Now, the part of the gaming community I'm talking about is mostly the Xbox side, because after the trailer had played, and they, of course, did kind of like their little talking points about the game, giving us an idea as to what we can expect from it. Third-person action-style game. In my mind, I'm picturing something like a Devil May Cry, sort of, maybe not that fast, but closer to that as opposed to what Arcane Leon has done in the past. Think of like Dishonored or Deathloop. Obviously, going third-person is going to be quite interesting to see for them and really see how they can kind of handle and pull that aspect off. But there was no branding, seemingly, for Xbox or really Microsoft. Nothing at all. It was just Bethesda. Mostly, I think, for a couple of different reasons, but many were thinking, oh, maybe this isn't exclusive to Microsoft or Xbox. Maybe this is also a PlayStation game, which is pretty funny still that is something brought up after what we've seen from, say, Starfield, that whole thing. Redfall being another one where we heard that there was a PlayStation 5 version that was in development and it basically got shelved by Microsoft to just focus on the Xbox and the PC version, ones that fit into their plan to try to push Game Pass. And while Redfall, probably not the best example to push Game Pass, at least gave us an example of Microsoft making the push to have a lot of these games coming out of Bethesda just being for their platform and their service. So that's kind of why I was a little caught off guard with people thinking that this was going to PlayStation. And I think there are several reasons as to why they didn't have an Xbox logo, an Xbox Series logo, any kind of branding right now. And first, though, I want to go over here, as this was part of an interview that took place with Axios and Disney's head of gaming, that's Sean Shoptaw, who did talk about Indiana Jones, which we know now is an Xbox or Game Pass, you can say at this point, exclusive. They said with Xbox still being one of the bigger marketplaces for games, we didn't feel like we were going to be overly exclusionary. We felt like it's still going to reach a broad set of folks, and we felt financially and strategically for the game that made sense at the time. Now, it is interesting to note that kind of thought process that, Xbox, Game Pass, PC, that's a wide enough range for us, since we're licensing the franchise out. Like, Disney is not sitting down and developing this game, right? They are taking a lot of their intellectual properties, as they should, and just kind of getting out of the way and let more experienced studios kind of take the reins and create something like Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2. And I think with Arcane Leon behind it, Blade could be a really, really good game. But I think we're way off from this one, as in, it's going to be a while. And to me, that's one of the biggest reasons we had zero branding around this game when it was first shown. I say first shown because now, as of today, I feel like this whole controversy, this whole discussion has pretty much been resolved, as Xbox did upload this game trailer to their YouTube account and also put it up on X, and Sony's done nothing with it for PlayStation, right? So in that case, you can kind of look at it now from the outside with limited knowledge as to how this project is really going behind the scenes and say, okay, yeah, that's probably an Xbox and PC and Game Pass game. But before that, I feel like the reason there was no, say, Xbox logo, there was no big push necessarily to brand the thing is because we don't necessarily know if it's coming out this generation. Sounds weird because, yeah, it feels like this generation just got started, but there is a chance that this game is still another 4 or 5 years before it comes out. We could see a 2027 or even 2028 release date on this thing, and who knows where game is going to be at that point. There is a chance that this could be maybe a title that they push the next system with as something in that launch year. I just don't necessarily believe that Arcane Leon is just going to push this thing out the door before it's ready, especially with this partnership seemingly that Microsoft and Bethesda are forming here with Disney. You also have to keep in mind Indiana Jones is probably, I would assume, further along than Blade, and that would probably be up next as Disney, licensing both of these properties out to Bethesda, would want to have more of a release cadence for these different properties. And apparently there's some Blade stuff coming up when it comes to the MCU on Disney's side. So maybe they also want to space that out, time it correctly to where they give a nice push to Blade with some of the movies, TV series, whatever they're doing there, and then be able to roll into a game a year or two later. But I do believe at this point, you can just assume that anything Bethesda or even Microsoft shows, probably an Xbox exclusive. It is interesting that it seems to be mostly for Xbox that this conversation comes up, and maybe it's because Microsoft and Phil Spencer and you can say Matt Booty and all these other higher-ups there do kind of push the idea of gaming for everyone, trying to get these games as many places as possible. So you go, okay, well, you put it on PlayStation then. Not necessarily the case because there is still trying to push Game Pass. Like they still have reasons to have games exclusive to Game Pass in general, which is at the center of their strategy. It's not necessarily hardware first. It is indeed services first, which falls in line with Microsoft. Microsoft is a software company first and foremost, and it's easier to sell even like the higher ups like Satya Nadella on the idea of gaming if it is tied in with cloud, software, services, that sort of thing. The Xbox is a pathway to get, I would say, more mainstream consumers who just want a box to put on their TV to Game Pass, which would then be the place you would play something like Blade or Indiana Jones. The thing that did kind of catch me off guard, though, I will admit, is that there was no Game Pass marketing for this one. You feel like this is a place you would definitely put it, and maybe they will over time, but maybe this game is really that early on to where they're not even confident to put the Game Pass branding on it. That part is one to me that's still kind of up in the air, still kind of strange. So I guess at this point, we'll just kind of keep an eye on things, how Blade continues to progress, but we're not going to see it for a while. I'm thinking a couple of years before we see any other trailer or mention of it. So we'll see as we go along. But either way, I'm excited to finally get, I would say, a high-quality Blade game. I think that franchise makes a ton of sense to have as a video game, so that's going to be really cool. And also to see Arcane Leon step out of their comfort zone a little bit there and design something that's not necessarily a first-person stealth kind of shooter. I think this is going to be action first and foremost, because it'd be kind of strange if a Blade game was like 80% stealth or something there. So exciting stuff going forward here for Microsoft, Xbox, and Game Pass with Blade. But let me know what you guys think about all of this down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.